Hello everybody, this is Ryan over at High Carb Regenerator. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be about she finally left me and being single at 42 and vegan. I'm going to put a timeline in the description section. Just if you don't want to listen to what I say in the first half, fine, whatever. Go to the timeline. That's where I'm going to talk about my thoughts anyway on being single at 42 and vegan. Okay, so I just wanted to tell everybody, anybody who's watched my channel for a while or any time, I've mentioned my ex. We kind of formed a pact and we lived together for a couple of years and just to help each other out. Today was the day she moved. I helped her move yesterday. She said I did like 98% of the work. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. I gave her my TV. I gave her everything that I could. I like to help people out and leave them in a better position than they were when they found you, met you, whatever. And so I helped her out. I just wanted to show my appreciation for the many, many years we've had together. And yes, so I just wanted to give a little bit of a brief thing on how we met. It was kind of a crazy time. Back in 2005, November 5th of 2005, I got divorced from my ex-wife. And it was basically on the anniversary of us getting married the year prior to that. And I thought to myself, what can I do to kind of cheer myself up? And I'm like, I know what I'll do. I'll go spend $100,000 on an education that I don't use because I didn't want to live where you got to live to use the education that I have. It was in gaming. At the time, you really had to live in LA. I'm not a big fan. And I was like, spent this money for no reason. But during that time, a couple months after I started in maybe February of 2006, I'm not a curious person at all. Like, I am not a curious person. If I ask you about yourself, just know that I'm like extremely interested, because otherwise, like, I'll talk to you about baseline stuff, but like, I'm not a curious person other than, you know, the research and everything that I do on this channel and some stuff with cycling and and you know, I've mentioned some other stuff on here, but by and large, I'm not a curious person. So I don't know why I stumbled into this discussion in a class that I was in with my ex, but I did. And I happened to notice one of the lines, something along the lines of, how could you ever get tired of sex? And I was like, whoa, I'm interested, right? This one might be a keeper. So I started messaging her and I found out that, you know, she was married and everything like that. And I still didn't care. And I'm like, you know, so I just started talking to her. I started asking her questions. She was going through a lot. I was just messaging her an email because it was 2006. Social media didn't exist at that time. And I'm emailing her back and forth. And I'm like, you know, I really like this one. So, and I knew, you know, her marriage was on the rocks and everything like that. So in, I think August or something like August, September of that year, she came out here to meet me here in Cleveland because she was out of Philly, and I was like, yeah, this is it, man. This is my lady. So we said our hellos and everything like that, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I just don't get it. She's like, what don't you get? I said, you still got clothes on and I can't figure it out. And she started cracking up, and like 15 minutes later she didn't. And we have been basically an item almost since then. It was 2006. I didn't move actually out to, I wanted to move out that way because the East Coast always interested me. I had a lot of friends in New York and a couple in Philly. And I'm like, I'll go out there. I'm not really worried about where I live. You know, it really doesn't bother me. I'm not attached to any location. And so I moved out there on February 2nd of 2009. And on September 2nd of 2022, it ends. It's just so crazy to me. And all days the second. But yeah, so I moved in on a Super Bowl Sunday, and you know, she left on Labor Day. And I mean, that's it. There's so much that's gone on between us, and I really don't want to discuss it here. I mean, we're the best of friends. I think we'll always be best friends, but it's just, I think she wants Mr. Hall. I know she wants Mr. Hallmark. I'm not that. I'm the kind of guy that doesn't really care about having possessions or anything like that. I don't even care if I have a location to live at. I really just want to be out there and find stuff. Now, I can be a homebody. I like being indoors sometimes, but honestly, I'm not at the house very often. And that is a concern because I have an aging cat who doesn't use a litter box. It's crazy to me. I used to live in a house last week at this time, I lived in a house with three other people, four of us, a bunch of animals. And now today, a week later, I'm here in a house by myself with a cat who doesn't use a litter box. So it's going to be interesting because I'm not here very often, so I'm going to have to see what happens with her. I probably should have had her put down a long time ago, so that might be happening too. And that is it. I really don't want to expand on anything with her. If you got questions, I may answer them, probably not. And that's it. That's just, it's been a kind of a fun ride. I mean, we've had a lot of crazy things going on ever since we met each other. It's been mostly a fun ride, I think. And now it's not. And so what I wanted to talk about is dating at 42 or 40 or whatever. Everybody thinks, you know, like you hit 40 and it's the end of your life. I mean, most people tell me I don't look 42 or whatever. I mean, what is age? What's the number? I mean, I'm not going to obviously go date like a 15-year-old or something like that, but I'm not really into the whole, you know, you're this many years old. I know there's a separation, but I think the most important thing I've had a lot of people ask me this, what is the most important thing in dating? And in my mind, somebody who doesn't try to control who you are is probably the best thing in my mind to look out for. I crack up when I go on like Instagram or very occasionally Facebook, and I see these posts, especially from women, mostly from women, and they are attracted to this guy. They start dating this guy based on whatever reason, and then they want him to change. Now, who's the crazy one here? The one who stayed themselves the entire time you were with them, or the one who wanted to change somebody the entire time they were with them and wonder why it didn't happen? So I think that is the most important thing that there is when it comes to dating, is to find somebody who you are compatible with, who have at least some common interest in. You don't want a mirror either. You're like, if you're looking for a mirror, you're going to be in a world of hurt your entire life. So you want somebody who's somewhat opposite of you. But you also don't want somebody who's so far opposite of you that you just there's just nothing there at all. So you want to find a medium, but find somebody who is okay with who you are. If they are not okay with who you are, if they tell you you're too much to me or for me or something like that, they're right, and move on. There's plenty of fish in the sea. You know, even with this, I don't know, what are they called, Tinder or something like that. I'm not finding somebody on an app. I've had suggestions about that. It just ain't gonna happen. This is another question I get, like, how do you approach women? And to be quite honest with you, I have never actually really done that. I've done it a couple of times. It didn't go very well. I've actually been approached quite a bit, which is kind of actually happened to my father in front of me. So I guess it kind of runs in the family. I've actually seen my father be proposed to by the daughter of one of the owners of a major team in Cleveland. So she was very well off. And, you know, obviously that didn't happen because my parents are together for life. But I was just like, damn. So I don't know how to answer the question, like, how do you approach people? I mean, people kind of just approach me. I don't know why, because, you know, I'm not a curious person, but it just kind of happens that way. And I've just kind of fallen into this kind of stuff. Now, I will plant seed, not the seed, but a seed. And that has blossomed pretty well over the years, but I really don't approach anybody. It's kind of weird. Maybe I should. I don't know. We'll see. Another thing is, will you date somebody who is not vegan? And my answer to that, because I've been thinking about this, I've done some interviews with different people. You've seen them, the interviews, and I would rather be with somebody who is more compatible. And I'm probably going to lose like 8 billion subscribers that I don't have. But like, I know I would rather be with somebody who I'm compatible with and could spend maybe the rest of my life with, or like a good quite few years with, then just date somebody, just try to shoehorn somebody in there just because they're vegan and like we don't get along ever, like not a single day of the week or whatever. I don't want to do that. I met all my exes when I ate whatever I wanted to. But you know, everybody knows my story, my kidneys and all that. So it just, To answer that question, because I know I'm going to get that question. I've gotten that question in DMs and stuff on my Instagram. If you don't follow my Instagram, check it out down below. The answer to the question is I would rather find somebody who is compatible, who I don't despise. Because let's be quite honest with you, if you come on YouTube, a lot of these vegan people are nuts, right? I've actually had four actually run-ins since the beginning of this year with vegans who wanted to date me who were married. I'm like, what in the hell is, I'm like a magnet for this. This is how I met my ex. I'm not doing that again. I'm not going down that road. So it's just been kind of a rough year with women. And I'm like, bro, like I kind of just stepped back and I'm like, we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. But to answer the question, if I haven't answered the question already, is yes, I would date somebody who isn't vegan, who was a compatible match over a vegan just because they're vegan. You know what I mean? It's like just dating somebody because they got a big butt, which I have done. But I wouldn't want to form a relationship around the fact that they got like a 50-inch ass. I just wouldn't want to set up a relationship around that. So it's just, I don't want to shoehorn anybody into it. I just want somebody who's compatible. And I think everybody should want that. I just think everybody should want that. It's just, I think we get too stuck on these rules that we set for ourselves. It's kind of like the people who starve themselves or people who have eating disorders. You set these rules up for yourself so much so that you trap yourself in your own rules and you become your own prisoner. And I just don't want to do that. That's just not my thing. I have been anti that my entire life, or pro like freedom, whatever, my entire life. So I don't want to put shackles on myself or anybody else in that matter. Would it be great to find a vegan that's on my exact same wavelength? Of course. But you know, the odds of that, the amount of vegans that are in the world, you know, will it happen? Who knows? Time will tell. But right now, I've got a house that's in total disarray. I don't own a vacuum. I need to figure that out. I had all the appliances. She had all the utensils. So I got nothing to eat with and everything to cook it with. So I'm going to have to figure that out at some point today or next couple of weeks or whatever. So I'm not really in the let's go find somebody mode, but it is something to think about. I'm going to make more videos like this in the future because it's a topic that is now something that I have to think about. I didn't know that I was ever going to have to think about this. I didn't quite tell if we were in a long fight or something, but I'm glad that, it's over. It needed to end. I'm not Mr. Hallmark. I'm never going to be Mr. Hallmark. I'm never going to be Mr. White Picket Fence. It's just not going to happen. I would rather have somebody who was down for adventure whenever and equally down for just being a homebody once in a while too. That's just where I'm at. That's probably where I will always be at. And I really do wish her well on her journeys and myself as well. So that is the video. I'm not going to go into our relationship. That's it. Any comments, questions other than our relationship, leave them down below. Like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.